What's going on, fellow park enthusiasts? This is the Park Geeks, and we are back. We got all of us this time. I'm Justin. We got Kurt. We got Raul, and we got Daniel. And folks, this is, well, how should I put this? Disney. We need to talk. Now, before we start, I want to get something right off the bat here. This is mostly directed towards the higher ups at Disney, not Disney cast or staff. They are just doing a job. We're talking about the people who make policies here. We want to discuss, frankly, the losing streak that Disney has been on. Not that some good things aren't on the horizon, but we're worried what a lot of this is leading to. So let's go ahead and get this start off here with Kurt, because he has the most experience with Disney. Kurt, why don't you actually tell us a little bit about when you were younger, experiencing the magic for yourself?
Oh yeah. I've been a long time visitor to Disneyland parks. My first visit to Disneyland was somewhere in the mid '60s. It's so long ago I can't really even remember. I was quite young at the time. Got to go a couple times in the *60s, and then lots more in the '80s, and through the '90s after I moved to California. Things changed quite a bit. I had a pretty good run for a while there, about the early '90s through about the mid 2000s. I had time. I had enough vacation time at work, finally, enough money to make trips more often. And I went quite frequently to Disneyland because it's only about a 5-hour drive from where I am, so I could go down 2 or 3 times a year pretty easily. And I went to Disney World about once a year. Back then, it was a really good deal. The passes were very affordable, very reasonable. So I had passes to both Disneyland and Disney World. I had it for many years, from the early 90s all the way up until 2018, 2019. So we're talking like 25, 30 years. I had passes to both parks. And for a good stretch there, I think the 90s were some of the best part. Lots of things were happening in the parks. And I think the visits were truly what you would call magical. I mean, everything was the rides were cool. Nobody else was doing rides like that at the time. The entertainment was great. The live shows, the little shows they have in the park, the street entertainment. And the way the cast members behaved, they treated you. Everybody was so friendly and nice, which you don't really get at a lot of places. And I think a lot of things contribute. And you have lots of things. The themed hotels at Disney World, all those great themed restaurants around Epcot and elsewhere in the park. They're just a lot of fun to eat at. And top off, the prices were reasonable back then.
Yeah.
you could actually go in the restaurant and get a reasonably priced good meal. And it was really nice. I used to always eat, when I was at Epcot, I would always eat at the restaurants, at table service restaurants. And it was just, all with the passes and everything, it was just such a great deal. And unfortunately, that is not the case anymore. In fact, I let my passes expire. My Disney World pass expired in 2018. My Disneyland pass expired in 2019. And I haven't renewed, and I have actually no interest in renewing anymore. So it's been quite a while since I have been to the parks, and I have no plans to go. Too many things have gone wrong. One of the big ones is that's turned me off. There was a couple contributing factors. One was I let the passes expire because of Galaxy's Edge. That was when Galaxy's Edge was opening, and I didn't know what the crowds were going to be like, and I didn't want to go to the parks if it's going to be massively crowded. I said, well, I can just take a year off and see what happens with all that. And I wasn't really interested in Galaxy's Edge either, because I'm an original trilogy guy. And as soon as I found out Galaxy's Edge was based on sequel trilogy, I just lost all interest in going to see. I just had zero interest.
Yeah, we actually do have a video of taking Kurt to Galaxy's Edge for the first time that will be coming out soon.
Yep, that's coming up pretty soon. Yep. So spoiler alert, Rise of the Resistance is a good ride. I will say a lot of negative things about them, but that's a pretty good ride. You can't deny that. But yeah, so I had no interest in going for that, and so I kind of let it go. And of course, the pandemic came along and screwed everything up even more. And when Disney came back from the pandemic, they kept the reservation thing going, and that just kind of really, really turned me off. If I'm going to buy an annual pass to the park, you can't come and tell me I need a reservation, because then the pass is now useless, right? You pay all this money for a pass, and all it is gives you an opportunity to try to make a reservation to get in, and that just doesn't work.
I agree.
You know, there's no way I'm paying money for a pass that I can't use. You know, because every other theme park chain, I buy a pass and I go on any operating day I want, and I don't have to tell them in advance when I'm going to go there. You know, so my wallet's full of passes. I've got a Six Flags pass. I've got a Cedar Fair pass. Both good for
I've seen them, people.
Yeah, every park in North America for Cedar Fair and Six Flags. I also got a Silver Dollar City pass, Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk pass, and I've had others at times as well, depending on where I'm traveling and what I'm doing. Sometimes I had Dollywood pass. Love Dollywood. That's a great theme park. But yeah, it's a real disappointment for me because it's not. They don't put the parks in a way I want to go to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't really expect, they don't have to do everything my way, but at some point they push me far enough that I'm not willing to play this game. So I'm not willing to play the game where I got to pay $1,000 for a pass I can't use. You know, I'm not playing that game. And there's lots of other things going on too. And, you know, you could say, okay, maybe Disney's not for me. Well, this is Disney's loss. You know, because I showered a lot of money on them, you know, gladly and happily. You know, because I had passes to both parks. I stayed in their hotels. I ate in their restaurants. I bought souvenirs. I bought the collectible artwork and stuff that they sold. Spent a lot of money at the parks. You know, quite happily. It was entertainment. It's my kind of entertainment. But now they're not providing that anymore. And I don't know when I'll ever have a pass again. If they, as long as they require reservations to use a pass, I'll never buy a pass from them again, ever. Period. End of discussion. It's just off the table. Because I just go, you know, there's plenty of other theme parks in the country. Universal doesn't make me make a reservation. I've got a Universal pass, and I plan to renew it.
Yeah, Raul, didn't you actually say you had an experience with the Galaxy's Edge as well?
Not an experience with Galaxy's Edge per se myself. It was more that how many of you guys know the process of when they were thinking about the land, like the Imagineering process of it?
I'm not that familiar, no.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few videos on YouTube about it.
The reason I mention is because the original plan was to build a Tatooine experience, and it was going to be like you're entering Tatooine, and it was going to be a mix of original, prequel trilogy, and some of the new trilogy. But Kathleen Kennedy came in and was basically, I want it based on the new trilogy because people moving forward is like, this is going to be the story that moving forward and stuff. And what happened? Like, the movie, you know, in a sense, failed. Not that it failed necessarily financially, but if you look at the box office of Force Awakens, it was $2 billion. Then Last Jedi was like $1 billion something, and then Rise of Palpatine was technically $1 billion, but like it was started losing money. Merchandise was losing money. So in the end, Galaxy's Edge, because it was placed in basically sequel trilogy era, the merchandise and everything was just failing. And as you guys know, it pretty much feels like a shopping mall that just happens to have a ride.
Oh yeah.
Because the majority of it is shopping with 2 rides. And the thing is, there were so many other rides, because if you watch, I actually love this series. I would give this the Imagineering story of when Disney first started.
It's a good
to up until it's a good documentary. I recommend. And one of the things they mentioned, or at least showed, they were talking about different rides. Like you were riding, not a banta, but that lizard creature you saw in New Hope. That they were the stormtroopers were riding. That you were riding,
right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh no. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I know the one you're referring to.
They were supposedly, I think they were even mentioning a pod racing attraction. There was like so many other.
I want pod racing.
Yeah, it wasn't. And wasn't the pod race one of the highlights in episode 1? Like that was one of the things that people actually enjoy from the first prequel movie.
I mean, depending on who you ask, pod racing is definitely one of them, but most of them will say Darth Maul.
I can see Darth Maul, yeah.
Yeah, the epic fight at the end was pretty good.
It's one of the best lightsaber fights, period. I agree.
I mean, if it shows you how bad it was, basically they decided to break the immersion of, this is a sequel trilogy in Disneyland, and they added Darth Vader. They brought in Boba Fett, Fennec, and now they brought Mandalorian with Baby Yoda. So it's like, screw the timeline shit. Like, mix them in.
And like, but the whole thing though, going back to the annual passes and the annual reservation, like, I don't get it. I mean, don't you want to be kind to the people who are frequent visitors?
Yeah, the
to your
people who
park?
spend the most money.
Yeah, but guess what Disney calls them now? Legacy fans. It's like,
Yeah.
there's like, oh, well, yeah, we don't have to worry about them. They're always going to pay money, right? We got to focus
Wrong.
on the new cash cows. The new cash cows that follow trends and hyperfixate on social media or IP or whatever. And it's like, okay, you do that, Disney, but what's that really going to get you? You do that with the whole Iger legacy and the Chapek legacy. Well, most of the Iger legacy of just buying IPs, and that just bleeds into the theme park. So it's a big mess. One thing leads after the other, and it's based on a premise of many, many false assumptions and an audience that Disney, frankly, doesn't really understand. There's just a big disconnect, and I don't know what it's going to take to fix it really at this point. The reservation system purely was implemented as a way to control capacity and crowds and to do like market research. Like, okay, people want to go to these parks. Like we're doing a research in real time, so we can jack the price and earn more profit that way. And it's to the benefit of nobody. What was a tool to help keep numbers down in the pandemic has now turned into something more corporate and soulless, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, they're trying to bleed the money out of the families that are on their once in a lifetime trip, and they'd rather do that than cater to the fans who are going to keep coming back year after year after year like I did. So okay, maybe you're bleeding a lot of money by nickel and diming the one-time visitors who are going to spend. Well, it's only another $10. I'll just spend another $10 as I only come here once, while the kids are growing up. That'll be it. But then you lost me. That was literally dumping thousands of dollars on Disney every year at the parks, and
Raul,
now that's now zero.
Yeah.
And Raul, what were you about to say?
No, it's just I agree with your points, because when it first was implemented, the reservation system, of course, it was meant to kind of as capacity because of during the pandemic to not overflow the parks, especially with the social distancing, with the lines and rides and everything. And it made sense then, but then once pretty much it was like the parks with full capacity was the only reason they would keep it is like, I don't know if Kurt or Daniel mentioned, is basically, especially during the Chapek portion of his reign, it's like, oh, there's, just to throw a number here, I know that's not accurate, there's going to be 500 people coming to the parks today at Hollywood Studios. Let's staff the bare minimum, and these are how many cast members we need, instead of just having the cast member there. Basically, it was to, in a way, force them to be like, we only need the minimum to spend less money paying the cast members who are actually going to go there. And there's no point of keeping the reservation system, because you have pretty much full capacity. You have to wait, and you have to wait until 2 p.m. to park hop. And it's annoying because, let's say, if I, like Kurt said, if I want to go to Animal Kingdom at let's say 3 p.m. or something after work, but there's no reservations for Animal Kingdom, and I have to pay Hollywood Studios. I have to go into Hollywood to literally go in and come out to go to Animal Kingdom if I really wanted to go to Animal Kingdom. Thankfully, I have open reservations most of the time for most of the parks, but it's annoying because I want to be able to park hop or go to a specific park. But if I can't, I have to make a reservation for a park I may not want to go to that day, to then go to the park I want.
Yeah, and this is another strike in against Disney about the customer experience, because how complicated is it to go to a Disney park right now? Like, you're dealing with the reservations, dealing with Genie Plus, you're dealing with a bunch of barriers that back when I was growing up, it was just very spontaneous and a truly magical experience. Everything was taken care of. Like, if you had like you just waltz in the park, you didn't have to deal with crazy. You still had to deal with lines, but it was still way more manageable then than it was now. The old fast pass system, and there's
Right. You bring up an excellent point there about the spontaneity. That's to me, being able to be spontaneous on vacation is part of the magic.
Yeah.
You know, you go to work all week long and you're on a schedule. You got meeting schedule, you got this schedule, that scheduled. Everything is not spontaneous. When I'm on vacation, I want to be spontaneous. I want to be completely. I usually when I'm at parks, when I was like at Disney World, I pretty much never decided which park I was going to go to until I was getting ready to get in the car that morning. You know, it would be like, you know, partially based on the weather. You know, if it's raining or not, I might go to a different park with more indoor stuff, for example.
Yeah.
If it's raining. And but other than that, I get up, have breakfast, and I say, okay, how do I feel today? You know, what kind of ride do I want to go on right now? I said, oh, I'm really in the mood for Big Thunder Mountain. You know, I'm going to go to Magic Kingdom. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And that's the way I was. That's the way I want to be when I'm on vacation. I don't want to plan days, weeks, months in advance with reservations to do stuff. That just takes the magic away.
And not only that, but again, going back to the whole pass reservation thing, you would think they would at least be a bit more flexible with their Florida pass holders. Because, you know, at least, you know, say, you know, example, you, Kurt, who lives on the other side of the country, you would come down here like maybe, a few times a year before all this happened?
World, yeah, Disney World was usually a once a year for me, but I would usually stay for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. But for people who live in the state, you'd think they'd at least be a bit flexible with them because they would come a bit more often and at least spend money for food and souvenirs, parking. Oh, yeah. But no, they don't even get anything. It's like, how can
it's kind of ridiculous because I have some other casual acquaintances that I ran into at the park in Orlando that were locals. They had passes and they said, yeah, sometimes, you know, we'll just get together with friends and we'll drop into Epcot to have dinner at a restaurant and then we'll go home. Maybe we'll do one ride, you know, if it's not busy. And that was kind of the way they treated it. It was a place to go and, you know, just like you'd go to any other restaurant if you're going out in a local area, you know, just like their local restaurant, you know, area.
Yeah, but
it's really great when you can be spontaneous like that.
Yeah, but you know, Kurt, the idea of spontaneous is something that modern Disney just hates because
apparently,
you can't follow that, and they want to see who's in the park at all times, and if you're taking away, I don't know, like if you're focusing on people that just want to come in, have a meal, and bounce, the money potential is not as great as someone who wants to be there all day and pay for premium for everything. So I get it from a business standpoint, but it still, to me, is the wrong approach on taking such matters. And this has been a major mistake that's just been constantly abused. And now I have to ask the question about Disney leadership. Do you think this really falls more on Chapek or Iger, like, for the state of the park experience as it is right now?
Yeah, because this whole thing, like, it started with Iger, but he was already on his way out the door, so the hell does he care? Then we got Chapek, and part of me wondered how much of this was Chapek trying to clean up Iger's mess. But it obviously wasn't very good because he's gone, and instead of bringing in someone new, they brought the guy who started it back.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. I gotta give credit to Jeremy over at Geeks and Gamers for calling that one. I remember his video from years ago.
Yeah,
he accurately predicted, you know, that Iger was coming back. I don't know. Do we want to talk more about CEOs now, or do more about the parks?
Let's do a little bit more with the parks here because there's more to discuss, like the whole portion sizes at their restaurants.
Oh yeah,
the old pay more and get less.
Yeah, well, like now I get it. At least with the whole, you know, the reason, at least according to one Disney cast member that we know, he said one of the reasons why food is so expensive at amusement parks, or at least at Disney, is because that money is used to help maintain the rides. Okay, but the sizes were already pretty small, but now they're getting smaller.
Yeah.
You guys are not doing this for my own diet, okay? You don't know me. Okay, so don't give me this horse crap that you care about my health. The only, like, you don't care about my health, you care about my wealth. Let's be honest here.
Yes, that's right.
Absolutely. And
I wouldn't mind so much if the portion sizes got smaller if the prices went down, but they kind of did the opposite.
Yeah, even all these Instagram-worthy, like, photo snacks, like, they've been shrinking down too. Like, you go to a food and wine festival, it's like, what? I pay $10 for this little bit that hardly satisfies, and it's just like, okay, it's like you eat this in 3 bites and that's it. And oh wait, there goes $10 or there goes $7 and just adds up.
Yeah,
And in
it's ridiculous.
alcohol, oh goodness, good luck. All the mixed drinks, all the hype. You're paying like $20-30 a pop for some from cool for I guess food dye and I guess decent drink options. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, blue shrimp.
oh my goodness, food
I
dye, premium item. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I don't
Now
know.
keep in mind, folks, we're not saying that the food there is bad. What we're saying is that you're getting less than what we were already paying for.
Yeah.
Because we did go to, do you remember the name of the restaurant we went to at Galaxy's Edge, Kurt?
Oh, wasn't that what was it? Docking Bay.
That can be something.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, I forget the number. I should know that. I'm a Star Wars fan. I should really know that.
But the food there was good. Don't get
Yeah,
us
it was
wrong.
pretty good food.
It was good food, but that I'm pretty sure that one piece of chicken you got is like now this big.
It's probably half the size.
Good Lord. And while we're talking about Disney Star Wars,
The chicken that you were talking about. Are you talking about when it was like a long brick?
yeah.
Now it's like 2 pieces. Like instead of the
Yeah.
long brick, it's now basically like imagine the piece of chicken you were eating, half
Mhm.
of that,
Yeah.
and then those are now the 2 pieces.
Waste.
And I agree with you about food and wine. And in the photo I tagged you in has the CFO saying that, oh, inflation, the distribution, and other stuff. And then one of the things you mentioned that pissed
Yeah,
people
like
off.
this stuff was going on long before inflation kicked in.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's made it worse, but the point is that you guys were already on your way to this turnout long before things were going bad with the economy. But while we're on the topic of Galaxy's Edge, we need to talk about this damn Star Wars hotel.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Oh dear! And here's the thing: I remember people talking about it, and it seemed exciting at first. Now, granted, we did not know about how the sequel trilogy was going to turn out at the time, but I remember, reading off what this was supposed to be like, and this seemed promising.
Yeah, well,
And
the idea of a Star Wars, immersive LARPing experience. I mean, that sounds kind of fun. I go do that
Yeah,
if it was
Sure.
the right kind of experience.
I would do it as well. I'm not gonna.
And the right price.
Yeah, but this ain't it. This really, there's lots of problems with this. I mean, it's. Why don't you go ahead and start with you, Juan? I mean, I could sit here all day talking about the problems with this thing.
All right, Daniel, why don't you go ahead and kick us off there with this?
Okay, well, I'm going to preface this by saying I am all for thematic experience, live theater, and escape rooms. That is certainly
Oh yeah.
one of my strongest and most promising forms of entertainment that I want to see expand in the future. So, to see a botched idea like this is very disheartening because Disney is supposed to be the forefront of theme entertainment, and here they are dropping the ball by just very questionable choices. I get the idea of trying to make things super complex and having multiple paths. Like, they claim 5 distinct paths, even though it's really 2, 2A, 2B, depending on what you want to do. And so if you're trying to encourage multiple experiences, which you should for something like this, don't charge an arm and a leg for it because people are going to treat it like a real cruise. Like, going to Disney
A cruise is cheaper. A real cruise is cheaper than this.
Way cheaper.
And I love the Disney cruise. I think the Disney cruise experience was fantastic, but this? Oh goodness, no. I would. It sucks because it seems like a dream come true with the concept, and I want to be immersed in that environment so badly. But then when you have cabins that are just too small for people, poor food that's either decent and it's not spectacular, not otherworldly, it's just food dye and maybe different shapes, I guess. And an entertainment that just boils down to really bad choreography at an elevated place to hide certain cheap effects. It's oh my goodness, it is complete swing and a miss for Disney. And
I will never forget that lightsaber scene where Kylo, or what's her name, holds up, like, extends the lightsaber, puts it on the floor, and grabs the prop one to use to fight with. Like, you have got to be kidding me.
That's lazy.
Yeah, that's the best you could do.
I mean, like, there's a backstage door right there. just like run back there, make it seem like there's a fight going on. Then you come back out with the one that you're allowed to fight with.
Yeah, well, you have to go. Yeah, there should have been a partition she could run behind. Like you're running. You had that catwalk up there. Just have one part where there's a panel covering it that she has to run through there. And she runs through there. She switches out the lightsabers.
Yeah,
you can't see it.
In the
But
end,
anyway, yeah, there's lots of things. So like as I said, this is like the basic premise of this. The idea, the notion is nice, is good. I think if they drew more from escape rooms and other types of things, I think that would be great. But there's other than the price tag. The price tag makes it wrong just to begin with. But the thing is, you're not even there for 48 hours. That's not really an experience. They call it 3 days. It's not 3 days. You got 2 nights barely, and you got to be up early on the last day because they want you out of there because they want to they got to clean everything and get ready for the next crew coming in.
Yeah.
That it's way too short. It's way too short from what that is. I don't want to be rushed through something when I'm on vacation like that, and I don't want everything so strictly, choreographed and timed out that I have to be all these different places at exactly the right time or I'm going to miss something. I don't want that. That's not being on vacation. The other problems was you spend way too much time on your phone or the data tablet thing they give you because you've got to do all these steps to get the backstory and get to where you need to be and whatnot and find out what's going on. I don't want to spend my vacation looking at the phone screen. That's not fun.
I don't want to do homework on my vacation.
If I want to play a role-playing game on my phone, I can stay home and do that. I don't need to go to Disney World to do that. And then the food is a major problem. If you're for that type of experience, the food had better be over the top. And I saw pictures of like the breakfast. It looked.
It's not.
I mean, I think I've had better breakfasts at a Holiday Inn Express than what I saw there.
Yeah.
You're
not wrong.
The breakfast in particular looked really bad. It looked like just kind of just the worst of American continental breakfast that you could imagine.
You have a better breakfast at Chef Mickey's, and that's like the hokiest of breakfast buffets at the Disney World.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, but Raul, in a long time.
Yeah, but Raul, you said there was something you wanted to say about this too, right?
I'm trying to remember the point I wanted to make. Yes. First off, remember the lightsaber we're mentioning with I don't know if you saw this video. This video came out when Josh Amaro, who is the current president of the Disney theme parks of Disney World and Disneyland, he went to the hotel to check things out, see how it's going before it opened. And the experience where you're using a lightsaber to defend yourself, the laser, it's literally this.
Yeah.
You're literally like not even. The thing is, like you said, Disney is known for all this marvelous technology and everything. And then was I expecting a real laser? No. But the thing is, like, they could have done this a million different ways. The lightsaber itself is not even that impressive. I've seen more impressive lightsabers at conventions, the ones from Vader's Vault or these other companies. Hell, even their own lightsabers in the parks were more impressive than the one they let you borrow. You don't even get to keep it. You just borrow it.
Of course.
And then experience is literally, you do this a couple times, and then next person.
Yeah.
You don't even get your own time there. And then the whole, where you're in the bridge, and you're literally playing a giant video game. The same thing. You're only there for a few moments, then you move on.
Yeah. I can play video games at home.
Yeah.
The lights. You're right. The lightsaber training thing I saw that looked really lame.
Yeah, especially because also we've seen how they use the lightsabers in the movie. They're doing all these elegant swings and stabs with them, but this is just block the beam of light.
Yeah,
it's like you're playing Breakout on this thing for the old Atari.
Yeah.
The impressive element I will say was the Yoda hologram. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And also the food. For the price that you're paying, even though it's supposed to be like cruise style food in a sense that it's included, it looks okay. I've been on 2 Disney cruises. The food on those cruises were a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Where they look more appetizing. Like before the cruise, I've never eaten, let's say, couscous, duck, and some of these other things. And thanks to the cruise, I ate, and they look more appetizing than what they were showing off in the and Kurt, were you the one to mention the different supposedly path, or was that you, Daniel? Where you had the different pathways of adventure in a way.
Yeah,
yeah, Daniel was talking about that.
That was Daniel.
From my
Oh.
research, because I looked at a lot of videos about the Honest experience, there's like 5 distinct paths. There's like the Resistance, First Order, the Smuggler, the Jedi, and there's like this other 5th one, maybe something political related, but
Supposedly, again, from at least research I've done, supposedly, how how it's promoted that you choose your own adventure,
yeah,
and supposedly, the people when you're checking in, they technically already have you assigned to your side, and it says, "Oh, you want to be First Order? Sorry, you've been assigned Resistance."
that
Vice
was
versa,
the
and
whole
stuff like that.
point. Jeez.
Again, supposedly that's some of the research I've done or these videos I've seen from that supposedly when you're checking in, the whole thing is you can choose your own adventure, but supposedly they kind of almost already set you in a
Yeah.
path.
I think they wanted to balance it out, I guess. But yeah, it takes a lot away. If you're paying this much money, I want to choose my own experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Tough.
I mean,
If it's too crowded, tough. You design it, and
You're right.
provide a fun-
You should design it so it shouldn't matter how many people are on each side.
Exactly. It's
I mean,
And
now
other things you got to get rid of. They got to get rid of the space bingo, and you got to get rid of the line dancing.
oh god.
That's
or
just
that weird
stupid.
blue singer that looked like she came from the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that might be okay. I mean, it depends. It's hard to tell if that works or not. 'Cause I think you'd have to be there in person to tell if that's working or
Well,
not.
I think they should at least change her design because again, that's the Fifth Element. This isn't Star Wars.
Her sidekick
I
is
mean,
way more
Because that's
impressive.
what people were saying, that this looks
Yeah.
like other sci-fi franchises.
Yeah. Well, the
Uh,
ship in general looks more like Star Trek than Star Wars.
Yeah, the theming is really not good on the inside.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to hear the TARDIS come in on the next door.
Yeah, there you go. One more. Yeah, but
And-
it's like I don't know. Other things that pick on me though. It's the adventure is too short. It's too expensive. The food isn't good enough. The experience doesn't work the way you want. I mean, the thing like there's that card game, whatever it's called, that you get to play.
Savak.
Sabak, yeah, down at the bar area.
Mhm.
Apparently, there's only like one table, and only a couple people can play at once. It's kind of like, no, I should be able to walk in there anytime and get a card game going with somebody.
Yeah.
You can
You know,
just buy your own
should-
deck from the parks and play at your own
Yeah,
room or
pay
whatever.
money.
It
More money.
It shouldn't matter. You know, it shouldn't matter how many people are in there. Things like that you should be able to do. I want it all to be spontaneous. You know, I want it to be like when I'm I've gone on Disney cruises a number of times, and I just be totally spontaneous about what I do, and that's the kind of experience I want. And they need to set up the storyline so you can follow it, you know, and do things spontaneously.
And not only that, but just the delusion that is all over the place with this thing. Because, for one, the pricing, it's $5,000 to do this thing. Dear God, that's a down payment for like a car right
Yeah,
there.
Absolutely.
And you're expecting me to spend it on this? I mean, like, kids are not like, like, even the most diehard. Like, there's a friend of mine out in California, Southern California, named Ro Coley, who is a diehard Star Wars fan. He loves this stuff so much. He has even seen some of the adult stuff and likes some of it. But with this, he goes, no.
Yeah.
No, not
No.
$5,000. And here's the thing too, like as soon as you get on, you start immediately. You do not get a chance to explore the ship.
Yeah.
So
And the issue is it's the same adventure, so there's no reason to repeat compared to like even Disney cruises.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so absolutely. Just one important thing I want to bring up is the whole assigned role thing, because that is definitely very concerning. But at the same time, it also can be a strength, because if you have a smart game master, designer of the whole thing, you can have people that may start off on a path, but they can freely swap and choose, and they can actually affect the outcome of the story. I've been to a private event by Student Entertainment called When Shadows Fall that had this very similar concept. You're in classes, you're in systems, you have a role assigned, but you can always defect and do other things to screw other people over, and it was so interestingly woven that there's actually like 5 distinct endings that actually take into account all the actions you do in game. So just because you start off as a lowly servant doesn't mean you could get cozy to someone upper class and be like, hey, I can provide you this, you do me this, and they have like a sway and like a vote in ship or whatever.
Yeah.
And it can be done, but they're not going to because for some reason Disney feels like they have to babysit their visitors and not allow them the freedom of choice to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
The idea of spontaneous activity is so scary and mind-boggling that if they're not hitting the highlights and hitting this corporate check what they have, then to them it's a failure. But that's where the real magic comes from. Magic is not predictable. Magic is unpredictable. It inspires, and I'm just getting angry now about this hotel experience.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of the problem with it. It's not designed to do what you just said. It's designed to crank through as many people as they can in the shortest amount of time. So the whole thing is scheduled and sequenced because they want you out of there, right? You're only there 2 nights, and they want you out because they want the next crewman paying $5,000. So they basically don't want you to stay and linger and have fun. Is basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, how much would you say an experience like this should cost?
Maybe $1,000.
$1,000
I feel
at
like
most.
at
Yeah,
most.
for the present 2-night thing, 1,000 at the top.
Yeah.
Even that I think is a lot.
Yeah, like I was that at the most, at the least, I'd say like maybe 500.
Yeah.
Just because
I'm not sure I would even do it for 1,000.
Well, of course, I mean, to be fair, Kurt, you told me that the only way you'll do that is if you get Slave Leia in your room waiting for you.
Go for 5,000. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the experience we're all looking
I
for.
go to Vegas and get that.
So and now they're starting to offer discounts of like 30% off. I'm like, that's still too high, guys. You got to go way lower because you're still talking over $1,000.
Yeah, well, it's like we all talked about at the beginning when the hotel opened. They're gonna, when it first opened, it's a novelty, and they're catering to the people who have lots of money and don't care, and are willing to spend the money for a novelty experience. Okay, fine, that's a business model if you want, but there's a very limited supply of people that were willing to do that, and they pretty much run through them already, and that's why you see there's all the vacancies.
We call that whale hunting.
Almost everything is available.
Yep.
And any date you want to go on the calendar, I think, is open now. And and they got they switched from 2 dinner sessions to 1 because there wasn't enough people there, and according to what I read, they laid a bunch of staff off because there weren't enough guests in the hotel. It was only like half full, so they didn't need everybody there. So it's just gonna continue like that. It's gonna trickle down until they run out of the whales. They're willing to spend the money, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, it just really kills me too because, and like I said, when I said how delusional Disney is, the fact that they thought this was going to do gangbusters, like they thought, just for it to trickle out so quickly. I mean, and keep in mind, to the people out there who did do it and did have a good time with it, we mean you no ill will whatsoever. You had a blast, and we are thrilled for you. We're talking about the longevity of something like this because people, they tend to look at what's in front of them right now. They tend to not really look what's down the future. Like, what's going to be the future of this? Is this really something that's going to last that very long? And considering that they're already offering discounts,
Disney was incredibly deluded to think this is going to be a long haul business proposition. I mean, the way they set this up, it has a very, very small market audience for people who are willing to pay that to do that. And I said from the beginning, I think it's like 6 to 9 months, and you'll run out of guests, and that's about what it's been.
Yeah, and now the other thing too, since we're still going on with the parks, was Disney doing Pandora. Now, I will say, it does look beautiful. Don't get me wrong. The movie, come on, seeing those mountains is kind of cool. The fact that it looks like it's...
Okay, the floating mountains were kind of cool. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And at night, it's spectacular, too.
Yeah, it looks cool at night. But the other thing, too, is that I remember you told me a long time ago, Kurt, you thought that this was basically Disney just trying to make up for the fact that they lost Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, clearly this was a knee jerk to counter Harry Potter at Universal. They had to do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I will say, it's the Flight of Passage ride. It's fun, but as we've all agreed on, it's just Soarin' 2.0.
Yeah, Soaring 2.0. It is kind of fun, but I won't wait in line for 2 hours for that ride. I think I've only done it 2 or 3 times, and only because I got a fast pass. There's no way I would wait in the standby line for that.
Yeah. Now I was one of the suckers who did wait 2 hours in line because I had nothing better to do. Like I had been to like all the rides already. This was the new one. Like, nope, I want to check it out. I've done everything else here. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it does not inspire me to come back. The whole Pandora area does not inspire me. Because the original movie is one of those funny things. It was, I mean, it certainly hit it out of the park with special effects and the technology behind the movie more than anything else. Because nobody had ever really done a CG character, that looked that photorealistic before. That was pretty incredible, and the way they did the motion capture of people's faces, so they get all the faces, which is what was really wrong about motion capture CG animation before, is that the faces and the eye movements never looked right. And so James Cameron got all that right. It was a beautiful looking movie, but there isn't really a whole lot of story there behind that movie. I mean, when you get down to the end of it, Avatar, the movie, is basically just the plot of Dances with Wolves blended with Ferngully, basically.
It's just as funny as the comment a lot of people have made.
Yeah, I mean, you got all the elements. You even got you got the leveler that's cutting the trees down in Ferngully. You got that in the movie. James Cameron put that in the movie.
Yeah.
I want to add real quick something about Avatar. If you notice at the end of the ride, I don't know how many of you ridden in Flight of Passage, there's those whales. And also part of you're in the beach and stuff, and you see those village people in the beach. That was actually, apparently, as a subtle nod towards the movie Way of the Water. And now looking back as me writing, it's like, oh shit, so we technically seen some of these people from the movie already in the ride. And we just didn't know it, really.
Yeah, it sort of looks that way. Of course, the new movie I find totally uninspiring. I've seen both trailers. And it looks like a yawn to me. I don't know. I'm gonna go see it and see what it is. Yep. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm excited for it. Like, I love James Cameron as a director. He never fails, at least in my mind, to entertain.
We'll see. I think this may be the time he failed. Yeah. He certainly did great with Terminator and stuff. I won't criticize those.
You say that, and the next thing we know, we're all gonna be eating our words in Avatar 4.
Yeah, we'll see.
I am ready to be proven wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, dude, prove me wrong. I mean, I will happily buy movie tickets. To those movies if they're good.
Raul, I couldn't even get this guy to budge on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Okay.
Wait,
it's not gonna happen.
Wait, what are you talking about? Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I'm confused. He didn't direct that.
I'm just saying, like, if he's already made up his mind on this movie, I don't think it's gonna. I think you're kind of SOL.
Oh, it's not irrevocable. I mean, I have to see it first, but I just heading into it, the trailers just failed to inspire me.
So,
Yeah. So, and the other thing too is
I was way more excited to see the movie Violent Night when I saw the trailers than I am to see the Avatar movie.
I actually want to see that movie too.
Yeah, I saw it already. I'm gonna go back and see it again.
All right.
And not so much like the food there. I gotta admit, I don't even remember it. They have specially themed food like they do with all their attractions at Disney, including for Pandora, and I don't even remember it. Maybe it's been too long.
I guess
it's forgettable.
They have noodles. I mean, not noodles. Sorry, I apologize. You have a choice of your bowl. The protein can be either rice,
I've had
noodles.
Yep.
I believe is sweet and regular potatoes, and I believe something else. Then you have your choice of meat: chicken, steak, shrimp, or you can do kind of almost like a surf and turf or a mix of the two meats. Yeah, or tofu. And then you have a choice of sauce, and I think those are your main three. And then they put boba pearls on top. You can ask for without it. It's been a while since I've eaten there, but that's like the main food item. They have also
Yeah.
like bao buns, like if you're familiar with Asian dishes, as hamburgers, bao burgers. I haven't had those. I've heard they're pretty good.
And the other thing too with doing a land based off Pandora is you're not going to be able to see any of those avatars actually walking around. I mean,
Yeah.
great. It's not like we're going to see Harry Potter walking around the Wizarding World, but which one is more possible to pull off?
Yeah. Well, they got. I was there for. They had the Death Eaters out at Halloween.
Yeah, those were
That was
cool.
cool.
So here's what I think the biggest problem is for the Pandora area. To me, it's just the way the land's utilized in philosophy. All that budget went to making the land look spectacular when you walk in and also at night. But what is there to do that reminds you that you're in Pandora instead of some just beautiful jungle? It's like
Yeah.
where are the people walking around? Where's all the little secrets that you can find? Like any nuggets, any lore, something like at least in the Wizarding World, like you can get a wand, you can find little nooks and cranny, or just watch other people do that, and also interact with people that are walking around and are in character, like the night bus guy, or even the people serving you drinks. Like they're all into it. It's all a coordinated effort. At Pandora, that immersion's broken because the minute you just talk to somebody at a stand or whatever, it just feels pretty forced. It's all nothing. The magic there doesn't really seem that convincing. It's just regular people wandering around that may drop a sudden avatar ease phrase to get you in the mood, and they're the ones performing, and that's pretty much it.
I will give credit that land is beautiful thanks to Joe Rody, the Imagineer. That's I feel like one of the few reasons that land works overall is because of Joe Rody's, Imagineering.
Yeah, but,
Mhm.
but
And
the only entertainment is the hippie drum circle, which just made me go, "What the hell? Why do I come to Pandora to watch a hippie drum circle?"
don't you
Yeah.
see that out in California every other day? Anyway?
Who need to go to Pandora to see that? They got. I mean, you can't go anywhere without running into a hippie drum circle out here.
And
Oh,
honestly,
God.
I think you could put off Avatar characters, kind of, even though it would be weird because they're very thin. But I mean, you're the leading industry in tech. Like, you figure it out. Even if you have to hide some of them or just do their faces in the bushes or something, do something, not just foliage.
Yeah, it seems to me you could do something with stilts. I mean, there's lots of people who can walk on stilts. You put some sort of a costume over that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just making them look, maybe at night, where they're thicker parts of the body, because the Navi are very thin. If you have, the outline in black, and you're at night, and you make this really glow, then you can sell that effect.
Maybe, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So, but it'll be a night thing. Instead of in daytime, the immersion will be ruined, because you can just see, fat guy, or, well, not fat, but just normal people, but they're fat compared to Navi.
So, relative to Navi, yes, I understand. You just have to find performers that are super super thin. Just put out a casting call for that.
They can do it. They're Disney. They can find lookalikes for any of their characters. Just ask all the Gastons and whatever villain or character you have at the park.
Right. Well, a lot of that is a lot of the movie magic that is just hair and makeup. It's really incredible what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like my family was raving about that place, but to be honest, I wonder how many of them even remember it, because it's just like with the movie. It looks good, but it doesn't leave that big of an impact afterwards.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. I don't, during the daytime, I'm going to be contrarian. I don't think it looks. I mean, the floating mountain thing is kind of cool. That I kind of like, and the waterfalls and stuff. But I don't think it looks that great during the daytime compared to other parks and just other, botanical gardens and things I've been to. It's pretty, but there's nothing really that memorable. The hippie drum circle is not memorable. You got the Navi River ride thing. It's a small world 2.0, and then you've got the other ride, which is Soaring 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't really see anything particularly memorable there.
You have the mech that the people use, but it's just a static figure, like all the X-Wings and stuff. Why not have it move?
Yeah.
You have the big Hulk coming to DCA, so where is it on this end? Like, let's keep expanding what the park, the lands can do. I I think that's where I think when we get to discussing philosophy, which when we're going to talk about CEOs, I think we should
Yeah, we're going
tie
to
that in
that next.
Yeah.
because right now,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
we'll see. We'll see what happens with Pandora. Like I said, I'm not really that thrilled to see the next movie coming out. I think the Avatar movie is kind of a one and done, but I don't know. Maybe there's a great maybe James Cameron's got a really great story and it just didn't come through in the trailers. I'm willing to say that, and I'll see it and we'll see what happens. Maybe there's a really great movie hiding behind these bland trailers. I don't know.
it's been in the making for what 12 years at this point. So
Yeah, it's kind of a little late to the party here. I don't know. I think that's part of the other thing. I've kind of really just lost interest in the franchise.
yeah.
Well, to be fair, I will say he was experimenting with new technology, especially because he was literally filming with the actors in water, and also
Yep.
the pandemic didn't help some aspects of that.
Oh yeah,
So-
it doesn't help anything.
It's
I
gonna win.
will,
It's gonna win some awards. But yeah.
at least the technical awards.
Yeah, certainly for special effects.
Real quick, are you guys familiar with the Avatar: The Last Airbender
Yes.
franchise?
Love that franchise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned this, and in a way, it almost makes way too much sense. Because if you guys know, James Cameron is a fan of anime because he wanted to direct Alita Battle Angel, where he gave the directing duties to Robert Rodriguez, but he still remained as producer and writer. And I feel, someone mentioned this, if you look at Avatar 1, the first one, what was the main thing they were doing? They were in the air. Avatar 2, where they are.
Water,
So, in Avatar 3, Earth.
Earth,
Avatar
Earth.
4, fire. So, it wouldn't be too far-fetched if the next two movies following the water would be different elements, and then different tribes focus on each of those elements. And then Jake Sully, could he be the Avatar?
Oh
Or
my
his
God.
children?
Oh, that'd be so cheesy if James Cameron does that.
Hey, he directed Piranha too, the original one. Would it be too far-fetched to think that he could make his own Avatar: The Last Airbender using the Na'vi and using the whole aspect of the spirituality and all that stuff? You already have one with air, one with water.
Well, if you want to, I guess he wants the reputation for being a cheesy director. Then yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
it could be cheesy or it could be fun.
Okay, now Dan, you said you actually wanted to discuss philosophy between Iger and Chapek.
Yeah, because like with a lot of issues in companies, I think it all does start at the top, and whoever's at the top has a lot of influence for those underneath them. So Iger and Chapek have been a combo that certainly, I think we can all agree, as we discussed in the video, had put the company in a very downward turn. They have painted themselves in a lot of very hard corners and being just overly greedy and riding on their laurels. And what do I mean by that?
We'll also throw Kathleen Kennedy in there just because she was the one
Sure.
who led Star Wars down that path anyway,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what led into the park. So we'll throw her to the pile as well.
Yeah, she's not innocent as well in this thing. Like, just with Iger, all the IP acquisition, all the decisions to clone rides across worldwide parks, and to really cheapen the experience and not and really hyperfixate on IP and parks. I think that was definitely the start of Iger's botched philosophy and a big reason why we're in this state right now. And trying to improve this guest experience, which led to Disney Plus, and there's big debate about Disney Plus. I'm not Disney Plus. Genie Plus. About Genie Plus in the parks. I hate Plus so much; it's so overused. But anyway,
Everything is plus, yeah.
yeah. Plus microtransactions. How about that? So Genie Plus. There's a debate between Iger or Chapek, like who is really the evil genius, as we should say, behind that. And
it should have been Iago Plus because he was the greedy bird.
yes, they had to besmirch the genie. The genie is supposed to add magic, but no,
Exactly.
he's a magic black hole in this case.
Yeah.
It was a little
Here's
bit of
magic in your
both.
wallet.
Yeah, and
There's a both when it comes to Chapek and Iger.
there's a what?
There's a little bit of mix of both because a lot of people blame Chapek for some decisions and they don't realize or see that a lot of those decisions that were made People blame Chapek was started with Iger.
Oh yeah.
Chapek just moved along with it. He didn't
Right.
make things necessarily better, but a lot of those decisions, especially buildings into parks and projects and all this other stuff, were made during the Iger portion.
Oh yeah. Like all the movies that are flopping right now. I mean, all those movies, those take years to develop. So all those had to have been greenlit back when Iger was in control.
Oh
So
yeah.
he allowed all those to go forward. We're just seeing the results of that now.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
latest movie. I don't want to go too deep into movies, but it's their biggest animated bomb in over a decade.
Oh, yeah, Strange World.
Yeah, and that sucks because it seemed like a semi-interesting concept, but execution was just so bad, and it was marketed poorly. And here we are. Now we're going to have another IP that we'll never see in the parks.
It
Probably for
was
good reason.
Treasure Planet all over again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Treasure Planet, Atlantis.
But anyway, I continue with what you were saying about their.
I'm sorry.
Did you have more you want to say on their philosophy, though?
Yeah. Iger, especially with the way he's been saying things about bringing Disney to where it was before, I find that really hard to believe. And I'm tinfoil hat time. I really am of the camp that Chapek was certainly the fall guy for Iger. Chapek was just Chapek just navigate Disney through the pandemic. Just don't make us a complete mess, so that whenever our hero comes back, he can finally finish off his plan and then groom the next successor at that point. Which, to be honest, I don't like any of the possible candidates. I don't like the Amaro. I don't like any of the chief financial people out there. It's all of them seem just tainted by this vision, and it's just really hard to trust. And I feel like Iger and Chapek's philosophy and their way to go about things has let a lot of us, the legacy fans, the ones who helped really build this thing, just crumble apart. To go what? Chase whales? That's what Chapek's doing. Chase the one with the fattest wallet. And whale fishing, there's only so many whales in the sea. When you're out of them, then what? All the fish that they found.
Right, and a lot of those people are one and done. You know, with Disney parks, they look at a Disney park like a Disney World visit. That's a once in a lifetime trip that they're going to do. So they'll be there for a couple of weeks, then that's it. You know,
pretty much.
As opposed to people like us who go back time and time and time again.
Yep, we're not valuable according to them, but we provide the most value because we're the ones covering content, consuming their stuff, offering live feedback, so that people are like once in a lifetime do have a magical experience.
And plus, 3 out of the 4 of us here live close to Walt Disney World. It's only like a few hours from where I live. I can go back, way sooner than people who live out of state. But apparently, I do not matter to them.
Yep, we don't matter.
Okay, well, at least I matter to Universal.
Yeah,
right.
But with all that being said, do I think with Iger being back, is that going to be any better? Honestly, that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I do know that there's some new rides coming. And Raul, you did the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Yes, I did Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and in my opinion, I will say this: it is a good ride. It is a fun coaster, especially you have the repeat value of getting the different music, and also during the holidays, they do have holiday soundtrack overlay on it now. If you go to it now, it is a fun coaster. Do I wish there were certain elements more in the ride as far as props and everything, at least in the very beginning before it launches you? Because that room where it launches you backwards does feel a little bit empty when you kind of look around and stuff. Because if you compare it to, let's say, Space Mountain, you got all these other satellites, astronauts, and everything around you. And then if you're not like paying attention necessarily to the screen where the Guardians are in the Celestial, you're basically in an empty room. And they could have put like asteroids and other stuff on there, because once you get into the main portion of the coaster, there's a lot going on there. You got the Guardians, you got the Celestial, you got a lot of props and elements. So that part is great, especially the spinning around, the giant Earth, the moon, it's a lot of fun, and it's a brand new ride in the sense it's not like a copy of another ride. Because Ratatouille, they have it in Disney Paris first. Tron, they in Shanghai. So, and also Tron for some goddamn reason it's taken longer to build that freaking ride than it takes for an elephant to give birth. And if you know anything about the biology of elephants, you'll understand that joke a little bit.
And yeah, they do have some with the new rides coming out. Kurt, Daniel, do you guys have any hope, like even the slightest glimmer of hope?
Well, I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride looks kind of cool. I've been kind of avoiding spoilers on that, so I don't know too much about it. But I think that one will be fun. The Tron ride, I've seen videos of the one in China. It doesn't really look that interesting to me. I mean, I don't think it's a bad ride, but it's definitely not a ride I'm going to make a trip out to go on. I think, honestly, the Hagrid's motorbike adventure looks like way more interesting than the Tron Light Cycle.
Ooh. And that sucks because the Tron universe is jam packed with cool ideas and stuff, and we just get.
Oh, absolutely.
We just get
well, we'll see. I mean, I've only watched. I watched the videos. From the other one, but so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I look around like, what else are they doing? I mean, they're doing a bunch of changes to the entrance area of Epcot, but a lot of that got like put on hold, and some of I heard is canceled. I'm not really sure what it is they're doing with that. I'm not.
The Epcot center portions apparently.
Yeah.
At least as far as I know, the original kind of design they had they kind of switched it up a little bit because I don't know what the current design looks like. But now they for example, the Mary Poppins attraction that was supposed to go there that has been indefinitely postponed to potentially have canceled, and the Iger. This 2-floor tower that was gonna have dessert parties and stuff, that was canceled.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of hope for that park at this point.
Yeah, if Disney wants to start winning fans back, I think one thing that would help would be to stop censoring rides. Okay, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to tell people to learn how to toughen up. I know that sounds cruel. Maybe it's not even the right word. But when I saw how they censored Pirates of the Caribbean, the Jungle Cruise ride, I think there was another one they were working on. Well, also the Indiana Jones stunt show. That was long prior to that. Either way, I mean,
Rock and Roller Coaster, kind of. But
what's that?
It's a minor thing. Rock and Roller Coaster had something taken out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
The hand gesture, yes.
Which, to be honest, I didn't even know what that was, and I'm the rock guy here. But you need to stop thinking that your guests are this weak here. Okay, you're not turning. How should I say this? It's not like this is going to become Action Park here. Okay.
I don't think anything will.
So, if they see that swastika that's on the plane there at the Indiana Jones stunt show, you just tell them that was just a dark time in history, son. You'll find about it in school. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the movie, so I don't get.
They don't hide the fact there are Nazis in the movies. That's what they're fighting. Indy takes pride in that, or Russians, I think, at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, anybody else want to say anything before we log off?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. Raul, let's have you go first.
It was definitely very interesting to see the last few years of, I would say, the Game of Thrones, as I mentioned earlier, with JPEG and Iger, because there was a lot of talks that for the longest time, Iger was still in charge, even when JPEG was quote unquote the CEO, and then there were certain plays that JPEG tried to do to kind of cement himself as the CEO and get rid of some of Iger's people. Like he fired, I forget his name, but he fired someone who was kind of in charge of some of the media stuff and creative stuff. and supposedly was going to be like a potential successor for CEO. So he got rid of the next person that was going to be in line, and he was getting rid of people who were basically on Iger's side. And the best way I can describe it is, I keep referencing Game of Thrones, but this is basically what it kind of was. It was like the Lannisters getting rid of the people who would have been a direct threat to their lineage of the throne, or basically a threat to their family. So Shape was basically getting rid of Iger's people, and then the CFO, the same woman who says we're cutting down food portions, we're raising prices to watch people's waistline, is now in talk of being the next person to take over the CEO role.
Oh my goodness.
And supposedly she was the person
Spare us.
that led. Yeah, that said she was probably the person that led the coup to oust Chapek.
Yeah,
So,
I don't like the fact
Yeah.
we have that going on with leadership.
Yeah, this doesn't look good. I can see I'm not going to be buying a season pass anytime soon to Disney. Because nothing's going to change. The only thing I'll add to that, when the pandemic started and Iger quickly ran for the exit, I think that really tells you a lot about him. He clearly didn't want to be associated, because he knew Disney was going down, right? The pandemic, all the theaters have to close, all the amusement parks have to close. Well, that's all of Disney's revenue right there.
Yep.
And he clearly didn't want to be associated with that huge, monstrous revenue decline that Disney was going to, and the hit to the stock. So he just said, "Yeah, I'm out of here. Somebody else deal with this." And that kind of really says, okay, you can do that, but that doesn't really say very good things about your personality and your leadership skills, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't the captain supposed to go down with the ship?
Right. It's always the rats who jump off first, right? When the ship is going down.
With golden parachutes.
And that's kind of like, say what you will, but at minimal, it's like cowardly almost. It's not really what leadership is about. It's just a cowardly move. And I think he was. I think we talked about Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers talking about this. I think he was waiting in the wings to kind of come back and then save the day. When things started to recover. I don't really know if he was pulling strings during the time Chapek was in. I find that a little hard to believe. But, I don't know. Maybe he was talking to other people on the board. Who knows? But I think he did. I think it is true. He was hoping to maneuver himself for a comeback at some point when things round out. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Chapek is out, but he got what, a $25 million golden parachute.
Oh yeah, poor him.
Yeah, poor him.
What we all could do with $25 million. But
oh, woe is me. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah,
And
so
Daniel,
I'm not real happy with Iger just from that point of view. That's not leadership.
No,
what he did.
None of the Bobs are capable leaders, in my opinion. Go ahead.
No, and then a lot of issues that are still going on were because of Iger. And a lot of people say, "Oh, he's gonna save the day," but it's like a lot of the issues where you were blaming Chapek were because of Iger.
Yep.
So it's like, don't just say that he comes here to save the day. Is he better than Chapek? Oh yeah, like in a way 10 times better. Or at least Chapek was more. How do I say this? He actually attempted to be, like, I guess you can say, a good guy. So Chapek was like, I don't give a shit about the guests, cast members. Fuck everyone.
At this rate, just bring back Michael Eisner.
Yeah,
I would not complain about that.
Bring back Eisner. Bring back that alien encounter ride. Come on, like Disney, come back. We miss you.
I must address the quick elephant in the room, though.
Yeah, please.
Because we need to bring up some censorship. I think, how can you guys forget about Splash Mountain? It's closing next month. So here in Walt Disney World, so we're gonna say forever goodbye. No more Splash Mountain. No more Zippity Doo Dah. No more any references onto the South. It's just all a forgotten piece of memory, because now we got to focus. I mean, I do enjoy the movie, but it's Princess and the Frog time now. Another IP, and here we are again. And I can't trust this. Like, the overlay might be as washed as the Frozen overlay for Maelstrom. That's what I worry about. Like, are they going to put in more screens? Are they going to bring back animatronics and make it really look cool and unique? Are they
And more importantly, is some girl going to try to jump out of the thing?
Well, you know they're gonna jump out.
Yeah, people always do that. But I think we know. I will predict the ride is not going to change very much. We know the ride system isn't going to change because that will cost a lot of money. Yeah. We know they're going to reuse as many of the animatronic figures as they possibly can, right?
Yeah.
And all they're really going to do is so you're going to get rid of Brer Fox, Brer Bear, and Brer Rabbit. They're gone, no doubt about that. But I think all the other characters are going to get reused somewhere in the ride. And I predict at the end, after the splash, and you go back into the mountain where they have the showboat scene.
Yeah.
I think all that's going to be there. They'll just change the song.
That'd be the easiest thing.
Because all that, I mean, it's the whole thing is from what I read, is Tiana organizing a big Bayou party thing. Well, there's your party, right, happening at the end. Right. So they'll just switch out the song, and I bet everything in there stays exactly the same, except for the song. And then earlier in the ride, they'll just switch it out. They'll probably throw in a Tiana figure, here and there to tell you what's going on. But I don't really mind them doing basically an overlay on the existing ride. But just the description of it sounds boring. I mean, she's basically preparing for a party. This is like, well, okay, I'm supposed to get excited about, preparing for a party. I prepared for parties. You do your grocery shopping and you cook some food and you set the table. That's boring as hell.
Yeah. You would think like this would be like maybe some sort of like side venture because it was the Princess and the Frog. Are we going to be dealing with her in frog form or in human form?
It can't be frog form
because this is set after the movie, so she's human again.
How's that going to work?
we know the frogs more than we know the humans.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're. I mean, you could imagine they're hiding something. As usual in any Disney ride, something always goes wrong. To give you some interest, so maybe something's going to go wrong while she's getting ready for a party.
Like another.
Yeah, perhaps. Because
I don't know.
Because that was one of the things that Tim talked about was how, something always goes wrong. There's really nothing you can do to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you always have. You kind of need that, right? You have to. The guest has to be something unexpected.
Agreed.
To surprise the guest to some degree to make it exciting.
Some danger's got to be there. And...
But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I mean, it's the whole.
Here's what I think they're going to do. I think as you're going up the hill, they're going to be playing Friends on the other side. As soon as you go down the other side.
That actually sounds kind of cool, but you have to explain how Dr. Facilier is back from hell.
Yeah, he's dead.
Well.
Yeah, he is. His soul ain't.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he'll find a way to get back.
He's suffering in wherever the voodoo people are come from.
I guess, yeah, whatever. Maybe that's the surprise thing in the ride. Maybe.
I mean, heck, Shrek 4D found a way to bring back Farquaad.
That's true.
Well, he was dead, so.
And now he's a ghost.
He's a ghost. Yeah. I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. That about covers it for this week on Park Geeks, and hopefully. Like, we're not holding our breath. Like, it's going to be a while before Disney can get themselves out of this rut. But we just hope, we hope they will.
Of course.
Because, like I said, we don't want to see them fail like this. We don't want to see them lose all that magic.
No, but I would like to go back and visit the parks again and have the fun I used to have.
Agreed.
I would like that a lot. But right now, I can't have that.
Unless there's new ownership, there's the whole rumors of Apple buying it, maybe. Horror.
That's a really interesting rumor. I mean, Apple certainly has the money, but I don't know if Apple wants the company. I mean, I guess they would like all the movies and everything for their streaming service, of course.
The only issue is that Disney has, because Disney does have a lot of that.
Yeah, there's that too. And but I don't know if Apple wants to run theme parks. That's that's really not in their wheelhouse.
They might.
Yeah, it's not.
They might propose a merger. That's possible.
I don't know. I don't know if Apple wants to bite that off. I mean, you can think of all sorts of scenarios. Apple could buy Disney just to get the intellectual property for all the movies and stuff, and maybe have the studio so they can produce, because they do want to produce their own movies for their streaming service. So they could get that, and then they could sell the theme parks to somebody else. and let them run the theme parks. You know, they don't have to keep them. You just license the Disney stuff to them, to whoever you sell them to.
How does
Let
that
them run
operate
it.
in Japan? Like, didn't they sell the theme park rights and management to a third party in Japan and Shanghai?
You're talking about Tokyo Disneyland?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so Oriental is run by the Oriental Land Company under a license arrangement. Yeah, I don't.
could that happen
That's
here in the
either
States?
that either was depending on who you talk to, that either was a genius move by Eisner or his worst blunder ever. I've heard it said both ways, because by letting the other company take it, they assumed all the financial risk. So Disney have to do that, but Disney gets a license fee, but they miss out on a whole crap ton of revenue that they could be making if they owned the park outright. So it depends
That's
which way you
true.
want to look at it.
But they're showing their own mismanagement of parks. Like Disney Sea and Tokyo Disneyland have been certainly well talked about by the fandom. So that's why I wonder if it were to keep going downhill, Universal's coming right back up and taking all that market share. What's going to happen? Like, we got to be prepared for anything at this rate.
Well, just think. I mean, I think Disney's really going to be hurting when Epic Universe opens.
Oh,
'Cause
Oh,
I
dear
don't think
Lord.
I don't see anything
They're not
that
ready.
Disney has. Anything Disney has in the pipeline that's going to counter that.
they have nothing. They literally
Right.
have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which is pretty cool, but that doesn't substitute for an entire new park.
Not even a new land.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Nintendo alone.
Well, we'll see what happens, because remember, Nintendo World opens at Universal Hollywood next year,
Oh man.
and we get to see what effect that's going to have on Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. All right. So until next time, this is the Park Geeks.